My name is Dotun Jegede, and I would like to speak briefly on rescripting job descriptions. There have been quite a number of questions people have been asking around job descriptions. It's not so simple, but job description is the entry point where you define the relationship between the employer and the employee. And that is the purpose of why you have somebody being brought to the system. But before I script it is important for me to take us a little bit back to history. And do not forget that as a system, as an organization, we should call organism. This is an organization. And so when you design an organization, and it has an agenda, a purpose, and things to do, and why we exist, you bring it that everything is going to work. So everything is going to work. All together is work. And when you break down work into molecules, you call it jobs. So you have the job here, 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 the job here. So you have these fragments and components. So every component of the work is called job. And so if you're able to design the job, which is the content of the work, you begin to fragment them into analyzing the job. When you analyze the job, okay, this job belongs to account department, so it's called technical job, this is called supplementary job. You define this job again and classify them. All accounting roles, all HR roles, all engineering roles. So you now rank them, you evaluate them, you begin to design their rewards. And so when you pick one of them, which is called the job has three elements. It is called task. Tasks are identifiable activities. You have duties that aligns or applies the obligations, and then you have the responsibilities, the purviews under your activities. So in the element of job, you have the duties, the task, and the responsibilities. So now, what makes up the job? Now when I say job description, it means it describes the maximum and the minimum scope of the job. It defines the boundaries of the job. And so when you script job description, you must ask the question, what informed the design of job description content? Now, to design an effective job description, there are critical elements that define. Number one, what is the organization into? What? That organization, that is where you find it. Because what we are into defines what you script and produce as the task and responsibility. How do you be able to fragment it into this component? Two, you also benchmark what other people of similar job do in different organizations and or in different industries. Three, you ask if there is a supervisor of the job holder, what do you want this person to do for you? And finally, you are going to ask if there's a job incumbent, a job holder, for example. If you don't have a job, that's fine. But if there is a job holder, you ask the person, what have you been doing? That's when now you design the job. But if there's none, you first ask the system, what exactly do you want this person to do? When you get it, you compare it. Are there other people in our industry, outside our industry, that do similar thing? And then you now find out the occupation, the profession, where they belong to, the theories around that job. So by the time you harmonize together, it gives you, that's when you now script your job. Don't just download it from the internet. You look at the system first, you compare what you have on the internet and other jobs related rule, and then you ask the supervisor what are the deliverables, and you form the job description. Now, when you script the job description, there are technicality behind it. Behind the fact that you look at which jobs are the core, which are supplementary. Now, don't forget that as you pick every job description, check out, you will see project-based roles. What are the project-based roles? For example, you employ an HR man and say, your role is to help us in designing our salary structure. You don't design salary structure every month or every week. It's a project-based role. Once it is done, it is done. Two, you look at which one are supervisory role. This has to do with people who are going to be leading other people. You check out, in this content, what are the ones that have to do with me just leading people, managing them to do it, not be doing it. It will be there. Three, you will see the one that has to do with collaborative role. I have to work with other departments, I have to work with other agencies, I have to work with other units or other people. They are collaborative. Next, you see the one that are repetitive. For example, if you are a HR person, preparing payroll is monthly. They are repetitive. So you find out that you have some tasks in the job that are repetitive, and you find some of them that are supplementary. They are not critical. And if you're not careful, this non-critical job can overwhelm you. So as you look at the job, you begin to check, in the job I am doing, which one are also project-based, which one are also supervisory, which one are collaborative, which one are supplementary, which one are and which one is critical. The critical jobs are the core that if you don't do them, they can sink the entire activities. And you check, they are so that if you don't do them, they won't sink. They have very little effect. So as you script job description, as an expert, you will be conscious of this. So I hope this helps you in designing your job description. So whenever you see a JD or you're scripting it, confirm, does this job description apply these variables? Is it reflecting critical roles? Very essential roles that only me must and should do it. Does it reflect project-based role, the one that I have to do one-off? Does it reflect collaborative role, the role that I have to do with other people? Does it also reflect supplementary role, the role that, okay, they are not so critical, but they are also essential, or they are also minor? Does it also reflect the role that are repetitive? So as you design your job description and not others, always look at it so that when you're measuring your JD, because the purpose of job description is to provide boundary, and the purpose of KPI is to measure, and the purpose of dashboard is to monitor. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.